So we want you to engage in the chat and introduce yourself. So your first to-do item is to please use the chat to introduce yourself, who you are and where you work, and then also what's your connection to computer science education in New Mexico. So again, we're using the chat as a connector throughout the hour for our forum, and we have a great group of people here that are joining us that care about computer science education, so it's good for you to know each other and to connect. And so I'm Paige Prescott, and I'm with Computer Science Alliance. And we have also my colleague, Yolanda Lozano. She'll introduce herself shortly. And then others that are part of our crew are Liz Nations and Melanie Cordova. And we are going to record this, and we are also going to share the slides with you, so you can follow along, and then also maybe there's some interesting data that you'd like to also incorporate for your own use in the future. Again, we consider this to be a community, and that you're all friends here, and that we all, have things to share and to learn from each other. And so we are calling today a Computer Science Education Forum, and we have a story to share with you that's about growth. It's also about the gaps, and then also we'll end with opportunities. And so one of the things that we want to, start with is, some of you have seen data like this in the past. We have seen incredible trends, positive trends of the number of students that are enrolling in computer science, the number of schools that are offering computer science, and it's really just very fabulous. We can see even a doubling in a couple years of the number of students that have enrolled in computer science courses. And this is just high school, because that's the easiest data to track for us in New Mexico and probably nationally. But there's some really interesting things to think about or to look at, especially in the data table. Take a look at the Las Cruces row, and then also the Las Lunas row. And there's like some ups and some downs there. I know that we'll have some people from Las Cruces talking about what they're doing up to, but I find it very interesting to see that between 2017 and 2018, that there was quite a dramatic change. And that had to do with one single computer science teacher shifting a job. And, and this is sort of why we want to bring us together, is to kind of understand what's happening in our state, and also how can we make sure that students have access to computer science education. And this is just a smattering of a few school districts in New Mexico, but we're seeing some great growth, and that's something that we want to celebrate. And I'm going to pass it off to Yolanda.
Hello, I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I'm Yolanda Lozano. I am president of the Computer Science Teachers Association, working closely with Paige, trying to advance this cause. But speaking to the slide, we wanted to focus a little bit on this because we think the numbers are really interesting. There's definitely, if we kind of slice it into one specific class, for example, we can talk about AP Computer Science Principles, which is a class that's represented here on the screen. So the College Board gives out this class, they give out exams, 221 exams given in 2019, a really great increase to 2020. A lot of teachers took the course over the summer and they started teaching. A lot of administrators obviously bought in, so we had a great increase. So, that was really, really nice. And obviously that's the kind of growth we're looking for in the future. 6% of the schools with AP offering originally, and then 21%. The kind of growth we're really looking for moving forward.
And so now we're going to move into talking about the gaps. So we saw some great growth, some positive change, but then just kind of really thinking about it on a local and a national scale. We only have a third of our high schools are offering computer science. And that is, although it's growth and change in a positive way, it's still only a third of our high schools. So that means that more than 2/3 of our students are not able to access a computer science class at their high school. And we have this interesting graph from code.org that is showing us some information to compare us nationally. And you can see that we are below the average. We're not at the, and we can have, this is a growth opportunity, hopefully for the future. And we're seeing that there are other states that have a much higher amount of schools that are offering computer science. And we'll talk in the future that in order for us to grow beyond a certain number, we need policy that's going to help us get us there. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. So we consider this a gap because not all students have access to high quality computer science. We also see gaps in the sense that there is types of students that are not have less access to computer science. And in this case, specifically, this is data around students in lower SES, the free and reduced lunch or meals. And we can see that if you are at a school with a higher amount of free and reduced meals available, so that means a lower SES, then you have less access to computer science. And this is also data that's compiled from 11 different states, including New Mexico. So New Mexico shared this data with code.org and they compiled it. And so this is actually 11 states. And we can see that also students with disabilities, although within those 11 states, there were approximately 13%, only 7% of those are really gonna have access to computer science. And then in the Spanish language or English language learners, excuse me, we can see that there is, if they have if they are in that category of English language learners, that they also have much less opportunity to study computer science or have access to a class that in computer science. And that same is true for that economically disadvantaged group. And Yolanda?
So we talked about this information in terms of, you know, great growth opportunity or great growth that we had from 221 exams to 371 and how great that was and how we went from 6% to 21%. But if we do drill down into that data, what we see is that we didn't have a really great increase in female uptake of the exams from 24 to 25%. It really didn't move a whole lot. That needle, that's someplace we want to see that some movement. And even worse, in the Hispanic and Latino student population, the number of exam takers actually went down as an absolute and obviously as a percentage as a result. And so that is really, particularly in our state, a negative, considering the percentage of students that fall into that category. 3 exams were taken by African-American students, same thing. And then 2 students by 2 exams versus 7. There was an increase there, but as a percentage, we would like to see that significantly higher. And so if we're looking at the demographics themselves, this just gives you a different way of slicing and dicing the information. So just making it a little bit easier to absorb. But as I'm looking at this chart, what I see, especially if I look at this at the bottom demographics of students taking the AP CS exam, you know, we're sort of fitting into a fairly stereotypical percentage of, you know, who's taking the exam. Well, even in a state where the percentage of Asian students isn't that high, we still have a pretty high percentage of Asian students taking it. White students, again, large number. And then again, we're just not in the numbers where we would like to be with the rest of the underrepresented students. And then as we go to here, we're looking at females. Again, actually, if we look from the beginning, we actually decreased. It looks like there's a lot of work to be done in that space. And so we definitely, I don't think there's a whole lot to say about these numbers, except that they're not going in the direction we would like them to go in, and that we need to figure out a way to give students an entry point to looking and exploring CS and to feeling comfortable in that space. And I think there's a lot of work to be done in there. And And then looking at the gaps from a different perspective. So now we talked about the classes and the student opportunities. And so higher level, as we look at jobs and what does this mean for the state? So currently there's 2,065 jobs. This is a pretty large number of jobs, but we're only graduating 173 students in computer science. That was as of 2018. And honestly, that number probably hasn't budged a whole lot just because the departments haven't changed a lot. And so there's not a huge amount of movement in that number right now. And so there's a lot of work to be done transitioning high school students into college and then doing something at the college level also.
And so now we're going to transition to talk about the opportunities. And just to let you know, we were, in terms of computer science, there is defined categories at the high school level. There are course codes and things like that. And that's what the data for the high school level is. And in terms of jobs, it's also about the, there's specific categories that the Bureau of Labor Statistics uses to categorize those computing jobs. But not all of them need a computer science degree. And so that's an opportunity here. So although we have these gaps, we are not seeing the demographics that we'd like at the AP computer science level. We are seeing that, could we turn this into an opportunity and to really, catalyze some of our schools to be offering this and to make sure that we get the right students that are prepared and are enrolled in these classes. So although there are these all these jobs that are available, and often they're at our partners at the research labs, Sandia, Los Alamos Air Force Research Labs, and down at White Sands. Not all of those jobs are going to require a degree in computer science. So when we're promoting computer science as something that students should really consider, it's a literacy in our minds. It is one of those, as we are more and more in a digital world, we need students that in the future are going to understand this technology from the back end, not just be the users. And there's these opportunities that students can have that start in school, that in our K-12 school, and they can often end their high school with a certification that can lead them to an excellent job. Or if they get into a 2-year, like a community college program, also excellent jobs. The best jobs are still going to be with a 4-year degree in computer science or engineering or software engineering or computer engineering. However, there's a full range out there for our students to start thinking about. But again, they need that exposure. If they don't get exposed to it in their K-12 schools, it is very unlikely that they are going to then position themselves after high school to think about these opportunities. So that's why we want to encourage, support our schools in New Mexico and the K-12 to start doing computer science. Wanda?
As we look at these opportunities on a broader scale, we can start talking about, even teachers and bringing in speakers and talking about that to see that really the field is like Paige said, it's not all about sitting and programming and coding and only being in a silo. It is about many job opportunities, from data analysts to arts and design to science to geology to medical fields to everything. There is data, there's information, there's coding, there's scripting, there's pieces that fall into place that allow students to take those jobs and to be interested in multiple fields at once. And so this is just a tool in their toolbox, like literacy, like math. It's just an additional skill that they learn, that they can bring to the job force. And it enables them to get a job in a different field. It doesn't mean that they have to be an expert programmer. So one of the opportunities that we wanted to talk about was we just announced, we had a big announcement with Code.org and Amazon and 5 regional partners. New Mexico got selected to be a state where we're going to be launching an initiative around APCSA, which is exciting because it's an equity minded curriculum. It is a project-based curriculum. It is a curriculum that is informed by industry. So it's the first time that the College Board curriculum is going to kind of have something, or a College Board class is going to have a curriculum behind it that allows students to actually be prepared for the workforce, and that allows them potentially to get a job after taking a class, and not necessarily leads them to a higher education opportunity. So I think that it's very exciting for New Mexico that we have this opportunity. The other thing that we're working on is this CS for EL work. This is with the Computer Science Teachers Association National Organization and the New Mexico PED. And we're basically working with school districts to bring in and to do a study around CS for EL.
And so as we think about these opportunities, sort of the gaps and then the opportunities, I mean, I'd like us to envision what would our state look like in the future if we had double the number of students enrolled in computer science right now? What if it was 50% of our students were enrolled? And then aspirationally, what if 100% of our students took a class in computer science before graduating? And, you know, this is, you know, what would that do to the future for locally, and then also for our entire state, if we had students that had this skill, this knowledge upon graduation? I mean, as an employer, would that feel different? Would you have different kinds of jobs or companies that would start to position themselves to take advantage of that knowledge that we're growing? So that's just something to really, you know, get us to, you know, this is not an impossibility. It's someplace that we could head to, but we have to really kind of plan for that. And that's where the policy comes in. So we have the legislative session happening right now, lots of bills happening. We actually have 2 that are specific to computer science that are in the hopper. But really, to get beyond what we have right now, we do need policy that's going to support that. And that means that we are thinking at a systemic level rather than just kind of ad hoc. There are nationally identified 9 policies that can help move computer science education forward. Currently, we have 3 of those. So we have our computer science standards are in place. So all teachers that are teaching something around computer science can link it to those standards, which are national standards. We also have funding that's been set aside for computer science professional development. Many of your schools or districts have applied for that funding, and that's through the PED. And that is something that Representative Sariñana made sure to happen, and she's one of our biggest advocates for that. And we also have one of our first policy bills was in 2017 to allow a certain number of courses to count towards graduation credit, because currently computer science, most classes are classified as an elective, and a few of them can be targeted for a graduation requirement, either in math or science. But we really, you know, to get to that 100% or greater than 50% of our students taking a computer science class, we need policy that's going to kind of address the schools that just don't have that vision with us, or that, you know, are working on other things and this isn't their priority. So we can feel that together, you know, at the state level and then also at the district level, that these policies could create that expansion and that vision for our students. And I just want to say another opportunity is the fact that we have incredible support in New Mexico for computer science. We have it at the PED level through both the K-8, which is mainly overseen by the Math and Science Bureau. And then the 9th through 12th is overseen by the College and Career Readiness Bureau, which Jamie Cherry is going to share some information in a bit. We also have great partners at our higher education institutions, such as New Mexico State. They're really one of the first that really made a strong claim around the equity and inclusion, especially for young women in computing, through a program called Young Women in Computing, YWIC. And Northern New Mexico College has a great program that is around mentoring, the STEM Mentor Collective. UNM, they started the Computer Science for All program that was very transformational for many of our high school teachers and students to get involved in computer science. And we also have great partners at New Mexico Tech, especially around cybersecurity education. And then also we have statewide nonprofits that are really pushing this as well. Not only CS Alliance and Computer Science Teachers Association of New Mexico, but the Supercomputing Challenge New Mexico Mesa. Their projects are all Arduino based, which reflects computer science. Explora does great work with that. Lanel Foundation is supportive, and so is Open Source Kids, which is Albuquerque based, but does a lot of touch to bring that knowledge to teachers. And then our organizations and businesses, I mentioned our research labs, plus the New Mexico Tech Council really care about computer science education. And we have elected officials that are helping to support policy, and specifically, we want to recognize Representative Sariñana for being the most vocal champion of computer science education. And then we just sort of wrapped up an initiative that took about 16 months. We had a computer science education task force, and this was a group of diverse stakeholders that came together, and we met monthly to talk about computer science and the issues, and we focused on some very specific topics. We met, so some of those focus areas were thinking about diversity and inclusion, the teacher pipeline. We really wanted to make sure that courses were reflected in the sort of what we needed for students and to take, and for high schools to target as courses and pathways. And we had great conversations with the high school to higher ed alignment, and to make sure that we're not creating any dead ends for our students in terms of the types of credits that they can have and how it articulates to post high school. And thinking about all the other after school and out of school opportunities, as well as our partners that are not necessarily education related, but are really involved. And then how are we going to fund that? And currently that plan was delivered to the PED, and they are looking at that, and they are incorporating all of that into their own strategic plan for computer science education. And we're going to hand this over now to Jamie Cherry. So I'm going to stop sharing because she has some things that she's going to share with us. And we are going to have her tell us more about what they're up to.
All right. Thank you, guys. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Let me share my screen. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm going to be pretty brief because you have a pretty packed agenda. So let me go ahead. So just really quickly, I wanted to share out just some potential funding opportunity that's coming up. So we haven't posted the RFA just yet, but it will involve some professional learning, CTE professional learning and related materials to fund those things. So that would be posting this week, and eligibility would be LEAs, higher ed institutions, as well as charters, state charters. This is federal money, and it's a quick turnaround time for spend down. It would be September of this year, and you would be able to find when this posts on our RFI, RFA page. So I'm just going to go to it real quickly so you can see what that looks like. So just on our main page, and it'll appear here, it'll be in, and like I say, I think it's going to appear probably this week. And so part of that is, so you will be eligible to, you would pick something that you were going to participate in as far as professional learning. So one of the components of that is computer science and of those options. And so in accompanying that, you could be eligible for up to $10,000 of equipment or supplies that would go along with the professional learning that you participated in. And also, expenditures that are allowable would be registration, teacher stipends. Equipment is anything over 5,000, supplies is everything under that. And then of course, indirect costs. So that's just something to watch for, probably I would say this week. I just wanted to mention, I talked to Yolanda today at great length, and these course codes are in our current STARS manual, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that we did add cyber literacy and cyber literacy 2 in our STARS course code manual. So I wanted to just kind of get that information out to you. And I can put a link in the chat after I'm done to that manual, you know, as a reference for you. We also have our CTE funding application workshop coming up next week. And I will again put in that information in the chat, but this is a three-day event, and it just addresses a variety of things in relation to CTE grants, whether it's state or federal funding. So it's pretty well-rounded, a lot of information. So that might be something that you're all interested in. And then lastly, we have our virtual conference for counselors that is tomorrow. And, you know, if you want to pass on the information that I post in the chat onto your counselors, I'm sure they've received it, but actually Paige is doing a breakout session at this event. And there's so many breakout sessions that you all might find of value. So I will post that information. And that's all I have. No, it's quick, but I know you guys had a packed agenda. So if you have any questions, you can message me, or I'll put my email in the chat as well.
Yeah, any questions that we saw? So we did have a request for your slides, if you're willing to share those, or at least.
Okay.
So we will get those and put them in there.
Okay, I'll get them to you, Paige, and then you can.
Great.
You could always add them to the slide deck that we have already shared, since
okay,
if you have access to that, so you can just insert them in there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then one thing that we want to mention is that there is a website, like a link in the PED, which means that it's a thing for computer science education. And that is that is a link that's in the web, in our, our presentation there. And there are two other things that are coming up. Well, actually one's current is Computer Science Fundamentals Workshop is for K-5 teachers. And there is a series of 3 sessions that are 2 hours each. And that is something that Jennifer Hooten is putting together through the Math Science Bureau. And there's another iteration on that that's going to happen in April. And that information gets sent out through the STEM Ready Connect, their regular newsletter that goes out. And then also Script workshop. So Script is an acronym that is about having district teams come together and to create plans around computer science for their district at sort of a more visionary level. And we want to encourage teams to apply for that. The districts that are going to be speaking shortly and sharing their stories about computer science education all went through this process. And so we can see that it transforms them at a systemic level. And so we want to encourage districts to apply for that, because it's a great opportunity to really just kind of have that plan in place so that we can, so that it's communicated to a broader audience. And so we're going to share that. I'm going to exit, and my colleague Melanie is going to put up these videos. And then we will, we will ask our, so you can ask questions in the chat. And so for instance, in Las Cruces, Lisa Huffstetler will be able to answer some questions. She can unmute herself and answer questions after the video.
Okay, so here we go.
This initiative started for our district quite a while ago with some teachers trying to they learned about computer science and what it can do for their students, and we've just progressed from there. Our big turning point was in 2019 when we attended a CS for All conference in California, and we were able to kind of understand what computer science is and what it can do for our students. And so for us, it became really an issue of equity and social justice, and really providing our students and the kids of Las Cruces the opportunity to engage in whatever career they choose to engage in. Computer science is something that can really empower our students. It provides them with agency. It develops their critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And computer science in this day and age is in almost every industry that a student would want to go in, all the way from the arts to fashion to what we traditionally think of as STEM and computer science jobs. And so we wanted all of our students at all schools, no matter what grade, to engage in at least a unit of study around computer science. Because what the research shows is if we don't get our students hooked into computer science or STEM or kind of whatever it is we want them to be by the end of elementary school, around 4th or 5th grade, they're far less likely to go into any of those fields. In 6-8, what we've done is the first year that we developed this initiative, we created a beginning computer science course based on the CSTA standards that New Mexico adopted.
Middle school level, they really start getting into HTML coding, Python coding, and even cybersecurity, where they can start finding their interest in what really computer science path that they're interested in. Also, we teach them about more of an algorithmic thinking. So going step by step, and how do I break big problems down into these smaller problems to help me go piece by piece, where that is useful in any job, any aspect in life, to be able to take a big issue and break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces.
So at the high school level, in addition to having opportunities for computer science in K-8, our hope is that by doing that, we are going to increase the enrollment in our AP classes.
Well, the skills that they come to me with are shifting, and that's a result of our initiative to get computer science in the lower levels before they get to high school. They're coming to me with the basic concepts, and so I'm able to kind of boost them even starting in our introduction to computer science class, which is our freshman level class. And then sophomore, they take an AP computer science principles course. And then their junior year, they can take UNM Computer Science for All, which is a dual credit through UNM, where the high school teacher is actually considered the TA for the course. And it's a flipped classroom. So all their lectures come to them via video from professors at UNM. And then their senior year, they take AP Computer Science A, which is a Java programming-based course.
E-textiles is the process of using technology to create fashion, or creating fashion that uses technologies. I noticed, along with the other teacher at Las Cruces High School, that introductory courses were kind of just attracting the typical student into computer science, despite our, what I would consider, heroic recruitment efforts. We were getting girls and students from underrepresented groups into the later classes, but they were still overloaded with those kind of freshman boys. And my administrators were really supportive in letting us kind of build out a new course that since then has attracted a lot of girls, has provided a place for extra practice for students with special needs and disabilities, and has just kind of enticed and excited students about computer science.
So we're pretty blessed in our district to have a couple of crusaders for computer science. We also have really strong partnerships with NMSU and DACC.
We've had a really strong relationship with LCPS through our Young Women in Computing program. It is also called YWIC. So this is a program that really looks on trying to bring more female students and women into computer science as undergraduates, but also into graduate school as well. So this program really looks at using our undergraduate students as near peer mentors for middle school and high school girls. So we have our YWIC program that focuses on female students, but then there's also a lack of especially Hispanic and minority students going into STEM and tech careers. So the Verizon Innovative Learning Minority Males Program allows for 100 middle school boys really focusing on technology and how technology can benefit society, and looking at entrepreneurship for these boys.
People who go into computer science in college are not going to come out and say, hey, I want to teach computer science. That's probably not where we're going to get the majority of our teachers for computer science. They're going to come from within, like Emily, who was a PE teacher, like Lauren, who was an English teacher. They're going to come from within the field of education. We need to invest in teachers, and we need to spread the message of why computer science and why is it important for the students of New Mexico, because if we're not providing our students with this opportunity, they're going to be at a disadvantage in terms of the nation and in terms of kind of what opportunities they have available.
Wow, that was pretty strong. So, Paige, do you want to do the questions now, or should we wait?
Yeah, Lisa, join us if you go ahead and unmute. And is there anything you'd like to add? And are there any questions from our audience for Las Cruces?
I'd be happy to answer any questions. I also can put my contact information in, and just in case you have questions. And this really did start as just a couple of teachers, Melody being one of them, and Lauren, and then another teacher, and just all about believing in the power of CS. And then that, like, I can't emphasize the script workshop. If you have a chance to participate in a script workshop, even if you've got some computer science things going, like I highly recommend it, because that helped us to identify like why computer science for us, which is where that social justice issue came in. But then it also helped us formulate a plan. And so we went from just a sporadic kind of splattering of computer science to we have a K-12 pipeline, and we've only got about 4 schools left that aren't really offering anything in computer science. So in a district of 42 schools, that's pretty close to all.
We have some teachers that actually want to move to Las Cruces.
Come on down. You will find a place for you.
Thank you, Lisa, and thanks for all you're doing to support computer science in your district. And also to Raina, I think is in the audience, and what is happening with that partnership across the higher ed institutions. There's really great partnerships there, something to really model for the rest of the state.
Yes, and just another shout out to my LCPS folks. Emily Creighton is joining us today. And then Susie Hendy, who is Melody Hageman's administrator, is here as well, just showing her support for CS. So great.
Great. So now we're going to go with Santa Fe. And here we go.
Santa Fe Public Schools
is that better on the sound? Awesome.
Recognizes that whatever field our students choose to pursue as adults, their ability to succeed will increasingly depend on learning computer science and STEM skills, which includes problem solving, block coding, and design and computational thinking. Our goal to craft and provide a transformative learning environment that models the global community which our students will eventually become part of was created through a school board resolution known as CSR 2025, or Computer Science Ready 2025.
Computer science is not just coding and writing programs. Those things are all fun, but that's certainly not everything to do with computer science. If you think about the video conferencing that we're doing now, the online learning management systems, all those had to be designed and built by somebody and maintained as well. The Wi-Fi and the wired infrastructure that you're using to connect to the internet right now, that's all part of computer science too. It's not just the code, it's also the hardware. The software is fun too, right? The games and the apps that you play and check on your phones when you have your camera turned off during class, right? That's computer science too. anything where you are using software that has been designed by people to create new things is involved with computer science, right? Somebody had to create those programs so that you could then do that editing and creation.
The Communities of Practice concept has paired experts in the field of computer science with teachers at the middle school level to allow for a safe space to explore, learn new concepts, and then have support throughout the way. We firmly believe that if we can help our middle school students learn how to think like a computer science and apply those problem-solving skills, when they move on to high school, they'll be better prepared to learn the programming and application of computer science.
The CSR 2025 program will lead every school through a process beginning with a basic understanding of computer science, moving to the implementation of CS concepts in every classroom, and ending with transformation, in which we see CS skills and concepts as an integral part of each classroom. The key to the success of CSR 2025 is that each school develops its own plan as a response to the strengths and needs that exist. Every school is given agency to develop a plan that addresses their community.
So it's CS Week, and I'd like to talk about my relationship with computer science. So while it's been a decidedly short one, it's definitely been a relationship that has grown over time and has impacted me immensely. It's altered, in a good way, my approach to problems and problem solving. My key example of this would be the essay that I wrote for the University of Chicago, which ultimately led to me getting a full-ride scholarship there. The university is known for its strange, interesting, and quite frankly intimidating prompts, and so being a glutton for punishment, I chose one of the harder ones, and that was what can actually be divided by 0. Prior to computer science, I probably would have gone for another prompt, or I would have taken some strenuous philosophical approach that ultimately didn't make sense. But with the lens you gain from being a programmer and being exposed to computer science, I looked at the prompt and I saw that they spelled out the word 0 rather than having it as the integer value of 0. And so as a programmer, I look at this word and I think, I can break it up, because with strings or array of characters or words, as non-programmers would look at them, each character in that word or string or array has a corresponding ASCII value. And so that just showcases the creative approaches that CS can allow you to take in problem solving.
Learning more about computer science is an incredibly valuable thing now that so much of our lives are involved in and dependent on computers. Plus, the average starting salary for a computer science major right out of college right now is $70,000 a year, so you might want to consider it. Give it a try. I guarantee that you'll learn something new during CS Ed Week.
The objectives of CSR 2025 truly represent an innovation in education. We aim to provide high-quality professional development, mentorship, and coaching in order to integrate computer science standards across our K-12 curricula. And we will prepare all our students for computer science and STEAM careers. In other words, CSR 2025 will prepare all SFPS students to thrive and be competitive in a global economy.
My goodness, so inspiring.
Hi, Neil, go ahead and unmute yourself, and if you want to make any clarifications. And I just wanted to, I put it in the chat that CSR 2025 came out of a district policy. You kind of were ahead of the game in terms of state policy. So go ahead and talk more.
Absolutely. So in 2019, our board passed a resolution that they wanted all students K through 12 in every school to be exposed to computer science learning on a daily basis in every class. And as we thought about how do we want to roll this out, we really didn't want to go to schools and tell them how computer science should be done. We wanted schools to decide that for themselves and to build out their own program. In our first cohort, we had, I think, 7 schools who applied, and we chose 4 different schools. They went through a 2-week learning intensive over the summer, in which we talked about the basics. What is computer science? So it's really about that awareness. And then each of the schools took some time to develop the beginnings of what would be their plan to integrate computer science within their school. Every school, what's amazing is that every school came up with something completely different, because their plan, each of their plans, that they were given agency in the design of those plans. So Miss Kathy Casals, one of our principals, is on today, and her school was really around they believed strongly in performance and the arts. And I remember Miss Casals coming up and saying, "We'd like to do this. Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do something else?" And our response was, "This is your story to tell. It's yours to develop." And we found that providing that agency to the schools is absolutely key in making sure that we're not focusing on just our older students, but like Las Cruces, we're looking at those skills becoming stronger and stronger as the years pass through, because we are integrating this for every single student.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and we'll look at Albuquerque's, and then we have Farmington, and afterwards we're going to invite Representative Sariñana, who just joined us, to also talk about what she's doing in the legislature with computer science.
Awesome. So here's to APS.
Hello, my name is Amelia Malazzo, and I'm the Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction in Albuquerque Public Schools. At APS, we believe in the crucial role that STEM plays in a strong New Mexico economy and a well-educated workforce. Last year, we began a computer science initiative aimed at increasing student access to foundational computer science education and creating and supporting pathways across the district. With the help of 2 generous grants from the New Mexico Public Education Department, we have hosted a spring computer science symposium, creating a grassroots vision and goals for computer science in APS, trained over 25 K-12 teachers during the summer in computer science courses to be delivered this school year, expanded computer science pathways at all of our high schools, with 8 offering AP Computer Science this year, and anticipating those courses at all comprehensive high schools next year, introduced computer science skills and concepts in middle school technology courses, and began the creation of a K-12 computer science pathway at all of our high school feeder groups. This initiative has been supported by many of our community partners. We have Girls Who Code clubs across all of our learning zones. CNM and UNM have partnered with us to build out dual credit pathways in computer science that support students in their transition to post-secondary education in the workplace. Explorer Museum has hosted many trainings, and we anticipate an even richer partnership on the opening of their new X Studio for teens. We've partnered with the National Math and Science Initiative to apply for funding to support computer science and algebra skills. And several business partners have supported school-level grants through the APS Foundation. We're also excited to announce a new project, Computer Science for English Learners, a national research project funded by the Department of Education and run by the Computer Science Teachers Alliance to increase equitable access for English learners to rigorous computer science coursework. Retention of these underrepresented students in computer science courses is key to APS's commitment to equity. Thank you for allowing me to share with you the first steps of our exciting journey. Small successes like these give us hope at a very difficult time for education. Goodbye.
So we'll have Amy Chase with APS is here, and we also have other APS educators with us. And so go ahead and post any questions you have. And Amy, if you'd like to unmute and join us and say anything, please do.
Sure, thanks Paige, and thanks to all my colleagues from the district who are here. We are excited to just be beginning this journey and seeing the videos that came before, and I'm sure Farmington's that's coming next. I feel really inspired about what is possible for the students of APS. So I appreciate getting the opportunity to be here today and to share with you all how we're getting started down here in Albuquerque.
Thanks, Amy.
Okay, yeah, so now we're gonna go with Farmington.
Yeah.
My name is Gene Schmidt. I'm the superintendent of Farmington Municipal Schools. I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share on behalf of the importance of computer science education for the state of New Mexico. As a strong believer in the importance of computer education, I proudly share that I taught computer programming to middle school students in the mid-1990s. Farmington, for more than a decade, has shared a one-to-one laptop initiative. It is forward thinking like this that New Mexico now needs as we go forward.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bowles, the Director of Early Education for Farmington Schools. We've had some successes in increasing awareness and participation in computer science at the elementary level. As teachers receive training and additional resources, they've been able to incorporate computer science into other content areas such as language arts. We also have started STEM after-school programs that have gone virtual since the spring. Our future plans include continued investment in teachers and programs so that we can build awareness and participation in computer science.
Hi, my name is Jillian Kennard and I teach 3rd grade. I enjoy using computer science in my classroom, and I use it as a way of getting students engaged. Some programs I use are Scratch and Microbits. When I teach dialogue, I like to use Scratch, and they make their characters say the dialogue, and they code it to where each character says something and it goes back and forth.
Hi, I'm Rashante Sandoval. I'm the computer teacher at Heights Middle School. I'm also the CS for MS Coding Club sponsor. In my class, we get to teach the fundamentals of coding. So it's very basic. The kids learn what algorithms are, they learn some basic blocks, and they get to problem solve. We also have a topic that covers 3D design, and in my class we actually have a 3D printer. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to teach this coding club. They get to build their coding knowledge and they get to collaborate with their peers. It's been such a great experience and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from my students.
I teach math at Piedra Vista High School, and I've also started taking over the AP Computer Science class. The goal for this class is to really just prepare students for careers or further education in computer science. And I think we've done a pretty good job of it. I wanted to share this with you. It's a sample of some code that one of my students wrote. In this, I can run it and just kind of show you what they did. If I type something in, their code stores what I type and returns that sentence with no vowels. That really is the code that this student wrote here. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic that we're training kids for 21st century careers.
I'm Mr. Curry, and one of the programs I teach here at Farmington High is the Computer Science IT program. Here at Farmington High, our IT program leans towards cybersecurity and focuses on the fundamentals of hardware and software, along with an introduction to programming. In the courses, you'll be learning how computers, servers, routers, and other equipment work, what makes them work, and how to tell them what to do. Some of the courses are in conjunction with San Juan College in the form of dual credit courses. At the completion of these courses, you'll have the opportunity to gain certification in that subject.
My name is Korth Ellsworth, and I'm the Director of Secondary Education for Farmington Schools. I'm thankful to have the opportunity today to talk to you for a couple of seconds about the information technology pathway in Farmington. We've embarked on a 3-year plan to implement a 6-course sequence. At the completion of each of these courses, students have an opportunity to earn an industry-recognized credential. The most exciting part of this is that we're shortening the period of time between graduation and the opportunity for students to enter the workforce.
Hi, my name is Eli Thomas. I'm a district technology specialist with Farmington Municipal Schools. Every year at the end of the school year in Farmington Schools, we host an event called the 21CL Tech Expo. This is the 21st Century Learning Tech Expo. It's an event that allows students to showcase their skills and talents using the technology that's provided to them. It's an awesome event that definitely encourages the exploration of computer science. I mean, we've had students submit videos, Photoshop projects, all the way up to students coding their own games in Unity using C#. So it's definitely an event that showcases great talent in our students, as well as the use of technology and the exploration of computer science. And it's something that I think Farmington Schools is really proud of.
The future of computer education in the state of New Mexico stands at an important juncture in time. As such, I call upon the state legislature to join with the New Mexico Public Education Department and school districts all across the state in calling for a substantial investment in the funding of computer science education. Whether a school is introducing an hour of code or coding for hours, it is vital that New Mexico has the means and methods to support computer science, because it stands to create high demand, high salary jobs for our graduates of the future.
Great. Fantastic. So I will let Michelle Thur, if she'd like to unmute and join us, and she can answer any questions or make any clarifications. And then after that, we will have Representative Sariñana talk about what she's up to in the legislature.
Sure. So, you know, we here in Farmington, we're committed to the education of the whole student, and we recognize and strive to be at the forefront of educational needs, which is why we've already implemented quite a bit of initiatives in computer science and computer programs. But we also have a growth mindset here in Farmington, which is why we recognize that there's still much more for us to do. And as a team, we are continually working to develop more science education here in Farmington.
Thanks, Michelle. And thanks everyone in Farmington for the work that you're doing. And Representative Sariñana, if you'd like to unmute yourself and we'll and just talk about what you're up to at the legislature for a couple minutes, and then we'll wrap up with a few other opportunities.
All right, thank you, Paige. This is so exciting. Hello, everybody. It's great to hear about all the computer science initiatives going on throughout New Mexico. I'm not only a state representative, I used to be a computer programmer and I'm a math and science teacher now. And I'm a firm believer to learn math and science, you need to apply it, and computer science is a great way to apply it. So I have I'm going to talk really fast. I have two bills. One of them is House Bill 126, which tries to get a computer science course in every school within the next 3 years, if you don't have one, every high school. And the other one, which we're going to pass this year, is House Bill 188, teacher licensure for computer science in secondary education. So now you'll be able to get a licensure. We have what was called junior money, and I'm going to put my junior money towards this. So teachers who want a licensure in computer science can get one this year in secondary computer science. All right, Paige, is that fast? Thank you, Paige.
That was fast, but yeah, I'll try and send out some links to those if you'd like to read those bills. And I just want to say that Dr. Schmidt, who was speaking in the Farmington video, he was active in the task force, and he really believes it's sort of the larger picture, and these policy initiatives are really where we're going to have the levers of change at a systemic level. So thank you, Representative Sariñana, for the work that you're doing. And now I'm going to, and any questions, again, the chat is active for us to connect. I know we're coming up against the end, but where we have a couple things that we just want to share. So we might go a little bit over, but not by much. So some opportunities and next steps. So if you're a teacher, we have some things that are happening to support your advancement in either learning the basics of computer science, maybe it's at the K-5 level, or maybe going further with whatever you've already had before. We have two things that are social, and they're more just about connecting on Wednesday evenings. Melanie Cordova is running those. And then we're going to be starting an affinity group for our Native American teachers that teach computer science. So a very small subset, but some special populations that we really want to support. And we'll be announcing that. It'll be starting up sometime in March. Currently, actually right now, are some computer science fundamental workshops happening. And I mentioned those earlier, and that's a PED initiative, and look out for information through their STEM Ready Connect newsletter. And then also in June, we'll be doing our professional development workshops, and we call those CS in the Sun, because we're going to be joyfully enjoying the outdoor space and learning computer science. And instead of one single week, it's actually going to be spread out through the month of June. So look out for more information about that. If you're a district or you're a supporter, please think about that script workshop. Lisa mentioned it, and all of these 4 school districts have gone through some or all of that process of script. And it really is just about a team coming together and having a vision and a plan around computer science that is very specific to your needs as a district. There's also a link there to some more information that code.org puts together at a statewide level. You might be interested in seeing New Mexico in comparison with the other states, and knowing that we're, kind of in the middle of the pack, but we could really leapfrog into much further if we have some great policy and some real focus on the data that lets us know how we're doing in terms of addressing equity and access. And then the last thing is there's some student opportunities out there as well, even though that's not our audience right now. But we do have codeathons. We are supporting our Spanish language students with some Programando tu Futuro, and Explora as always has great camps. And then Supercomputing Challenge, the other hat that I wear, we're in the midst of February evaluations, and students are gearing up for their projects presentations in April. And that's a great way to, out of school, or maybe through project-based learning in a class, to engage students in projects that are of their own design. And New Mexico Mesa, of course, has great work that they're doing, and their competitions that are coming up. And we are working together to bring some great workshops in advanced computing, specifically quantum computing. So stay tuned for that information. And we're going to be sharing this mainly through our newsletters, but always reach out and let us know. And I'm going to hand it over to Yolanda and see what she has to share.
So I just want to talk about some of the things that we want to do moving forward. You guys heard about the task force and all the work they've been doing. It's been great. We want to invite you to join us to move that to the next level in doing an alliance initiative. We want to basically bring everybody together here and invite you to take the next step. And our objective in doing that would be basically to as stated, I don't want to read the slides, but basically we just want to take it to the next level. We want to start working on multiple initiatives and coming together on a regular basis and picking different initiatives. May they be around licensing, around teacher training, around K through 5, or maybe it's 9 through 12 initiatives, district support and development of pathways, credentialing. There's any number of issues that we can address during each of these meetings. So stay tuned. We're going to be announcing this initiative. We want to start it in July and kind of bring a group, so you guys are obviously going to be invited. And if you're interested, we would love to have you and get your opinion and basically start moving forward. And if you have a slant towards certain things and certain topics, we can, start kind of parsing out responsibility and start figuring out how to move all of this forward. So make sure that you are listening for our emails. We'll try not to spam you, obviously, and just try to have some newsletters and some stuff on our website. And keep in touch, and please contact us if you have any questions, and we'll try to answer some more questions, and Paige and I will stay back here if you guys want to ask us anything.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Just really appreciate this great community. It really is, it's sort of my go-to group. Everyone here I feel connected to, and really want to like link arms and see if we can collectively make a bigger impact. So yeah, we're here to answer questions, and we'll hang out a little bit, and just thanks again for your time.